Good morning. Today is Friday, October 25th. Today we are joined by the City of Asheville for their city and water restoration updates. Want to provide a little traffic warning today. If you're heading out or live near the Asheville Airport or the east side of town, expect some significant traffic delays around lunchtime, as we understand that the First Lady will be visiting some areas in the county. So just make some additional travel plans, but add in some time, and be a good friend and let people merge. Last night we sent out a message to the community about bottles, half gallons of water that were distributed from the Tunnel Road and Charlotte Highway distribution sites. These are unlabeled half gallon bottles with green lids. And we shared information to please treat those as non-potable water sources. We saw some discoloration in those bottles. Those were tested by the distributor prior to being distributed and came back clean on testing prior to distribution. That water did come from the Mills River treatment plant, and was pasteurized and then distributed. We don't have any indication that there's anything unsafe in those, but we do want to make sure that out of an abundance of caution, we are utilizing those half gallon unlabeled bottles of water with the green tops only from the Tunnel Road distribution site and the Charlotte Highway distribution site as non-potable, just to make sure that we are being extra careful with those. So there's no indication that there's anything unsafe in those at this time. With that, I will turn things over to our county manager, Avril Pender.
Good morning. I'll give you an update on DSNAP and DSNAP extension. We have been successful in Buncombe County to get an extension from USDA, and they have extended a deadline for Buncombe County residents to apply for help buying food through the Disaster Supplemental Assistance Program till 4 p.m. today. Today, Friday, 4 p.m. was the deadline that folks can go in person to 40 Cox. Individuals and households not currently receiving food and nutrition services, if they're not receiving that benefit but were impacted by Hurricane Helene, can apply for DSNAP. We encourage you to apply in person at Buncombe County Health and Human Services, 40 Cox Avenue, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. today. As of this morning, there was not a long line, so please come down and apply. The online application process and call center are no longer available. At close of business Wednesday, Buncombe County has issued 4,276 cards with a total benefit of $2.5 million. Additionally, Buncombe County issued 370 cards for customers approved through the state call center process. We also have about 6,000 people who we will be following up with, because they have started a registration process through ePass. This extension is only for residents in Alexander, Buncombe, Haywood, Macon, and McDowell counties only. An update from Spectrum. Spectrum has restored service to nearly 93% of customers in Buncombe County, with just over 7,000 customers remaining offline as of 10/23 yesterday. Restoration is taking longer than they initially anticipated due to the amount of damage and repairs required. Challenges to safely access certain areas and the need to return to make repairs in areas where infrastructure is being rebuilt. They are facing specifically challenging rebuild conditions in a number of areas, including the Biltmore Forest area, where in addition to miles of network repaired, the need to rebuild one of the nodes that deliver service to the area. In the Black Mountain area along the Swannanoa River, they're working to repair a major fiber artery for the network. Similar work is being done on our network on the east side of Weaverville. Our crews continue to work through challenges in these areas and other areas and are looking to restore services as quickly as possible. Once service has been restored, customers would automatically receive a credit for the time they were without service. That is from our Spectrum. So the areas that are still very problematic is Biltmore Forest, Black Mountain, along the Swannanoa River, and some work on the east side of Weaverville. Great news for power restoration. As of this morning, 34 Duke Energy customers remain without power in Buncombe County. Water and meals ready to eat are available at distribution sites open today and through the weekend at Sky Lanes Bowling Alley, Black Mountain Ingalls, Swananoa Ingalls, Linwood Crump, Shiloh Community Center, Pack Square Park, Buncombe County Sports Park, and Fairview Ingalls. Early voting continues this weekend. There will be extended hours for early voting. At 10 locations will be open Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Early voting locations are Black Mountain Library, East Asheville Library, Inca Candler Library, Fairview Library, Leicester Community Center, South Buncombe Library, UNCA Health and Counseling Center, Weaverville Community Center, Dr. Wesley Grant Southside Center, West Asheville Library. Early voting is open every day, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. through Saturday, November 2nd at 3 p.m. on November 2nd. The Disaster Recovery Center, a one-stop shop where people can get assistance from FEMA and the Small Business Administration, has closed to allow for school reopening. While FEMA sets up another permanent location, which we will announce as soon as possible, you can get assistance from FEMA Mobile Disaster Recovery Center, open today through Sunday at Bee Tree Fire Station in Swananoa from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And at the Buncombe County Sports Park, the parking lot at the Buncombe County Sports Park open on Monday, October 28th to Thursday, October the 31st. So they'll be open from Monday the 28th through Thursday the 31st at the sports park from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The community care stations at AC Rentals offering showers, laundry, and more will still operate there. Other community care stations include At Home Store Parking Lot, Big Lots, Amesbrook Mall, Buncombe County Sports Park, Bethel United Methodist, Swananoa Ingalls, Swananoa Owen Pool, Morgan Hill Baptist Church. An update on solid waste. Today, household bag trash drop-offs can be made at the North Buncombe Pool from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Debris collection is continuing in Fairview, Swananoa, and North Buncombe. Reminder to set out your storm debris at the right of way, which is at the end of your driveways or the end of your curbs, and separate it into large appliances, vegetative debris, hazardous waste, construction debris, and electronics. Trucks will make several passes for the storm debris. And lastly, don't forget, if you are a Waste Pro customer, you will need to sign up for the service with FCC Environmental to continue household trash and recycling pickup after January 1st. Go to buncombecounty.org/solid waste. That's www.buncombecounty.org/solid waste for more information. We know that this is really tough. To add one more thing as we're going through a disaster recovery response, but please go ahead and get signed up so you can be sure to have service in the new year. And with that, I'll ask my colleague, Deborah Campbell from the City of Asheville.
Thank you, Avril, and good morning. My name is, as you've heard, Deborah Campbell, and I serve as the city manager of the City of Asheville. As usual, I want to start by thanking everyone in the community for your continued support to help us recover from this devastating storm. We're on day 30 of our emergency response and recovery effort. And as we continue these efforts, we from the City of Asheville are focusing on 4 major priority areas: addressing the basic needs of our community with a focus on our most vulnerable populations and the broader community, restoring water service, community safety and security, and debris collection. Today, our City of Asheville update will include announcements about water and meal sites, transit services, and a few details on city services that have been resumed. But first, we'll start off with an update from Clay Chandler, Public Information Officer with our Water Resources Department. Clay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Campbell. So while we are on turbidity watch, I think we were at 25 late yesterday. The reading today will come out later this afternoon. Wanted to give you an idea of our dams and our spillways out at North Fork and how they handled themselves during the storm. So what you see here is the auxiliary spillway at North Fork a couple of years ago during normal conditions. The concrete thing, the big concrete thing that you see there is the auxiliary spillway. It's normally bone dry. And as you can see, the water is absolutely crystal clear. And the shallower portions, you can see all the way to the bottom. And this is mid-afternoon on September the 27th, after the storm had sort of, the worst of it at least, had passed through as far as the rainfall. Just to give you some facts and figures, the reservoir at North Fork was 8 feet below full before the storm due to inconsistent rainfall in the weeks leading up to Helene. The water in North Fork Reservoir reached full pool at 10:30 p.m. on the night of September the 26th. That was Thursday. And to that point, it had risen 8 feet, probably in about 12 to 14 hours. The level indicators on our monitoring systems top out at 10 feet above full pool. The lake reached that point the morning of September the 27th, Friday at 9:30, which means it had risen an additional 10 feet in about another 12 hours. It stayed at least 10 feet above full until just before noon on Friday, September the 27th. We weren't able to get an exact reading because, again, the indicator had washed out additionally, because the road to the spillway, which is where the person who filmed this was standing, was too hazardous for personnel to access until much later that afternoon. So we couldn't visually see the level above this point until then. All told, the lake rose at least 18 feet during the storm. Now, this is the auxiliary spillway. That was the bone dry thing that you saw on the first slide. And this is well after the peak level of water had passed. That auxiliary spillway at approximately 7.5 feet above full pool, it activates, meaning the buckets, the 8 concrete buckets that sit at that spillway, at least one of them had filled up and it tipped exactly as it was designed to do. This is a mechanical activation based on the weight of water behind a concrete block and not initiated by a human. Water Resources has absolutely no ability to release water from our reservoirs. The only way water is released from our reservoirs is from our primary spillway, and in the event of an emergency like Hurricane Helene, our auxiliary spillway. I think we've got another video. So that's also the auxiliary spillway, same day, mid-afternoon, September 27th. Massive rainfall from the storm caused a torrent of water that eroded ground around our pipes and then pushed them apart. The excess rain that landed in the watershed and reservoir naturally flowed out of the emergency spillway, which you see here, by mechanical and, again, not human activation. Almost 18 inches of rain landing in a 15,000-acre forested watershed that's shaped like a mountainous bowl funneled downhill into a 355-acre lake and caused a lot of water to be concentrated in one place. That water had to go somewhere. That's where it went. It is entirely possible that water from one or both of the spillways at North Fork washed out our main transmission lines. And as you can see there, the new river that formed behind that would make that almost entirely possible. What those spillways also did was prevent what is already a catastrophe from being exponentially worse. The auxiliary spillway at North Fork, which city leadership had the forethought to prioritize as extreme weather events like Helene increase in frequency, almost certainly prevented the dam at North Fork from failing. If that North Fork dam had failed and unleashed 6 billion gallons of water, it would have meant complete annihilation of everything and every person between Black Mountain and Biltmore Village. It would have also caused water resources to lose our primary treatment plant, and 80% of our city's water supply would have vanished immediately. These same principles about the dams and the spillways apply to the Brule treatment plant in Beetree and the much smaller reservoir there. The spillway there functioned again exactly as it was designed to, and without it, we would have experienced certain dam failure, and to repeat would have made an already unimaginable catastrophe exponentially worse. I do have some news about the dams. They were examined again yesterday by our engineers for the 3rd time. Multiple outside engineers have also examined them. And while there are some repairs to be made on both, they are safe. They have been deemed safe and not in any imminent danger of failing. That pretty much concludes my presentation for today. I know you'll have some questions after, but for now, I'm going to turn it back to Ms. Campbell.
Thank you, Clay. And a lot of that information was given because we have heard concerns and questions raised about the status of Norfolk Dam and whether it failed. And so we wanted to add that additional information. So I'm going to turn to water and meal distribution. Although we are making tremendous progress in restoring city services, it is important to note the distribution sites providing drinking water and meals ready to eat continue to be critical resources for many people in our community. You heard Manager Pender identify a number of the locations, but I'm going to run through them just very, very quickly in terms of the city locations. These locations, distribution sites are open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Pack Square Park, 70 Court Plaza, Sky Lanes Bowling Alley, 1477 Patton Avenue, Linwood Crump Shallow Community Center, 121 Shallow Road. And just to note that the Shallow location has bottled water and MREs, but no bulk water. We also still have 2 community care stations and distribution sites co-located at 980 Brevard Road in the at-home store parking lot and at 85 Tunnel Road in the Innsbrook Mall parking lot. These sites will continue to distribute potable water in bottles as well as bulk non-potable water. As of this morning, our sites have distributed more than 1.37 million bottles of drinking water, 14,745 gallon jugs of potable water, 214,599 gallons of non-potable water, 127,486 meals ready to eat, and nearly 1,000 blankets for warmth. Transition now into our bus service. Starting this Sunday, October the 27th, ART will resume regular scheduled hours for most bus routes. That's 5:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays and holidays. The N2, 170, and WE1 eastbound routes will resume with modifications. Please visit asheville.nc.gov/transit for more information. Please also note that buses are no longer offering flag stops. That is the type that you can just wave the bus down. Transit riders need to wait at a designated bus stop to board their bus. ART service will continue to be free of charge to all community members until further notice. Also, shuttle service is still providing transportation between the WNC Act Center and the American Red Cross shelters. In terms of city services and programs, as of Wednesday morning, city offices were open to the public. We do have a few modifications in terms of some of our recreational facilities, as well as other facilities offered by our Community and Regional Entertainment Facilities Department. We encourage you to visit AshevilleNC.gov for more information about the totality of those services that are still closed. Our parks and recreation staff have been working hard to organize some fun and spooky season events for the community to come together and enjoy over the weekend and into the next week. We encourage you to visit the city's website to check those out, and we hope to see you there. I also want to applaud our Parks and Recreation Department and our team for getting the after-school program back up and running to serve children and families in our community. After-school programs will resume from 3 to 6 p.m. starting Monday, October 28th. Currently, we're only able to offer after-school program opportunities to students who were previously enrolled. Again, for more information about these events and additional programming, please visit AshevilleNC.gov/parks. Storm debris. This is and continues to be a sense of urgency about debris removal. We want our neighborhoods to be safe, and we want our businesses to be able to reopen as soon as possible. As we've started in previous briefings, as we've stated in previous briefings, we have secured a contractor with experience in natural disaster debris removal, and that work has begun to get this debris out of our neighborhoods and business districts. A temporary storm debris sites are necessary to process and ultimately remove debris from our community. The city continues to pursue temporary debris sites in all geographic areas of our city. The Inca Commerce Park site remains the only site that is currently receiving debris. Currently, both the Inca Commerce Park site and 65 Ford Street site now have 24-hour security monitoring, 7 days a week. Although the 65 Ford Street site is no longer operational, some debris was placed at this site, and until it is removed by the contractor, we will continue to monitor for security purposes and conditions at the site. And as more sites are identified and activated, we will provide similar security measures. As was discussed yesterday by the Corps of Engineers with the neat little graphic they had, before placing storm debris near the curb, we are asking residents to sort those materials into the following categories: construction, demolition, and bulky items, appliances, electronics, vegetative debris, and household hazardous waste. Please do not block the roadway with debris or place debris on utilities or meters. We need to keep our roadways clear for emergency access. You do not have to place all of your storm debris out at once. Contractors will be making routine collections and will be coming around, we hope, as frequently as possible. We've also received several questions related to Duke Energy debris. Duke's crews are working to secure or restore all customers who can receive power, and crews have been specifically tasked with cleanup, identifying and removing all remaining Duke Energy debris. This includes any broken poles, power lines, and transformers that weren't removed during the initial restoration process. Leaf collection. While city crews will not be collecting storm debris, our sanitation crews will begin collecting paper bagged leaves starting this Monday, October the 28th. We ask that everyone please consider waiting as long as you can to set out bags of leaves for collection. This will help us to move as efficiently as we can through the ongoing storm debris removal process. And in closing, and as usual, I'd like to extend my continued thanks to the mayor and city council, all of our dedicated City of Asheville employees, our other partners in the county, state, and federal government, as well as our private and nonprofit partners who continue to work diligently to help our community recover. Thank you. Lillian?
Thank you. Just want to make sure that I send a reminder to everyone who's watching or will watch or happens to see part of this. Be sure to register for assistance from FEMA at disasterassistance.gov or talk to one of the teams. It took me, I think, less than 10 minutes to do it online. And the process was really easy. And I was really surprised today when I saw suddenly a deposit had been made into my bank account to pay for some of that food that was lost during that extended outage of time. So go ahead, be sure to register. I promise I can testify it was easy. So at this point, we will turn things over to folks from the media who are joining on a separate Zoom link or may have questions in the chat.
Good morning, Lillian. This is Will from North Carolina Health News.
Thank you for joining us every day, Will.
Yeah, thank you. Just quick question. Yesterday, Dave Conley from the Army Corps, there was some confusion about the estimate for the total storm debris in the region. I think the number that he provided was the number that was provided earlier for the county. So I was just wondering if he had an opportunity to update his estimate.
He texted me after the meeting. 7.2 in Buncombe County alone, 10 million for Western North Carolina.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, this
Well,
is Laura Hackett from Blue Ridge Public Radio.
Hey, Laura.
I am wondering if the city or county could provide an estimate of the number of housing units that were destroyed from Helene. I know a few weeks ago there was some numbers around like residential units lost in unincorporated areas, just hoping for a more comprehensive understanding of the housing units that were lost.
So the most recent number that I have is 600 structures. And so that would be not just housing units, but structures that have been lost. Fully, completely lost.
And is that in Buncombe County, everywhere in Buncombe County, or?
Unincorporated. Okay, I'm looking at our emergency operations lead. That is for the entire county, inclusive of municipalities.
Can we expect a breakdown between residential and commercial buildings at some point?
Let us let us put that on the agenda for next week. We aren't going to have any briefings over the weekend, but we will be back on Monday next week, looking into the week schedule for next week. So let us put that on the agenda for you and get a presentation for you.
Awesome. And then just one more follow-up is like, in addition to the structures that were completely destroyed, wondering about units that are currently uninhabitable.
We know there are another 1,700 that have significant impact. So, it may be a roof that needs to be replaced for it to be inhabitable again, but another 1,700 on top of that 600 that have significant impact.
Great. Thank you so much. And one more question. I'm wondering if the county supports the idea of an eviction moratorium. I know the county is not directly responsible for implementing one, but wondering if that's something county officials might advocate for.
Yeah, that's not anything that, like you said, we have any legislative authority over. You're welcome to ask questions of elected officials on that piece, but from a authority standpoint, it is part of our legislative package. So I think you covered how the county works with lobbyists at the state level on pieces. That is part of their legislative package that goes to the state, but not anything that we can do at the county level.
Thank you. And what programs does the county have for rent relief and other forms of housing assistance?
So one of the things, we've been talking about DSNAP. Obviously that's for food, but economic services in our HHS department is 100% the right place to go. I actually got a message from someone who had retired and came back to help with the DSNAP applications. And she just wrote and she said, I can't believe I forgot how much I love helping people. And so that's kind of their philosophy. So our economic services is kind of a one-stop shop. So you can call them and they will help get you connected to the resources that best align for you, whether that's mortgage assistance, whether that's rent, or any of those avenues. Of course, we had Fiscal Legal on yesterday, who's providing support. And we've had Eblin Charities on, who is also helping provide support outside of the county operations. So we would say call our economic services in our Health and Human Services Department, and they will take a look at your situation and help get you connected to those resources that best support you.
This is Keith Campbell with Asheville Watchdog. I have a couple of questions for Clay related to the water. Hey, good morning. First question I have is, in a previous briefing, you mentioned that the Army Corps of Engineers was putting pencil to paper to see if they could come up with some solutions to meet the $20 million gallons per day capacity that you guys have to meet as it relates to filtration. Any word on progress on that, or where things stand with that?
Still working on it. Have not cracked that code yet, but they're still putting pencil to paper.
Okay. And then can you talk a little bit about your testing? Specifically, have you increased the number of test sites you're testing, or the frequency with which you're testing?
Certainly. So under normal operating conditions, our lab staff test 8 to 10 sites in the distribution system every day. Since the storm, we have averaged between 35 and 40 sites in the distribution system every day. And those aren't the same 35 to 40 sites every day. They rotate among the 184 total sampling stations that we have throughout the system.
So have you sampled at all 184 sites, or
certainly. Yeah. Since the storm, we have gotten to all 184 sites, and a lot of those sites have been sampled 2 and 3 times already.
Okay. And the last question I have is just related to turbidity. Are you seeing any improvement at this point?
The improvement is incremental. I think we started the week around 26.5. Yesterday afternoon, when the reading was posted, I think it was 25. So yeah, it's improving. It's not going as fast as anybody wants it to, obviously. And we're very anxious to start the second round of treatment next week. And hopefully that will speed up the process.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Any questions in the chat, Angelica? Angelica says there's no questions in the chat. Any other questions from media joining online? Again, cannot encourage enough for people to please register for assistance through FEMA, disasterassistance.gov. Talk to the folks who are out across the county. They will help get you registered and help get you assistance based on your needs, but definitely make sure that you get some support for that food that was lost during that power outage, so that you can start stocking that fridge again. I want to give folks my weekend plan. I think I have tomorrow off. I'm looking at Avril. I think so. She says yes. So I want to give folks my weekend plan, and I invite you to join me on my weekend plan. So tomorrow morning, there's a place called Short Sleeves Coffee in Swannanoa in Beacon Village, which we know is hardest hit. I highly encourage, go there, grab a cup of coffee. It's donation based, so bring cash, but I think they also do Venmo. You can vote on Saturday and Sunday. So if you're going to be in Swannanoa, just keep on going to the Black Mountain Library, where you can vote between 9 and 5, Saturday or Sunday. the post office in Black Mountain is open on Saturday mornings. So the post office is saying, if you have an absentee ballot, be sure to give yourself at least a week to get that mailed back in. So you can swing by the Black Mountain post office, get that thing postmarked in the mail on the way. And then when you're at the Black Mountain post office, you're going to be right next to the Black Mountain tailgate market, which is open tomorrow. Woven Roots Farmstead, they are down off of Highway 9. They suffered a massive landslide, but somehow they still have inventory, and they have like the absolute best chorizo. I've already put in my turkey order with them for Thanksgiving. Lee's One Fortune Farm has really great pears. So after you go to the tailgate market, you're probably going to want to grab a snack. There are going to be places that are open, and then you'll be all primed and ready to go for the Black Mountain Pet Parade, which is the annual Halloween tradition. I've been at work, so I wasn't able to do my my costume with my dog that I had envisioned of being the twins from The Shining, but I'll probably be there and she'll be a hot dog. And so give yourself lots of time, because there are so many roads and bridges in that area that are gone, but they are inviting folks to come and enjoy Black Mountain, the bit that is open, and have kind of a nice little bit of normalcy during what is an absolutely abnormal time. We will not have any briefings this weekend. So no briefing on Saturday, no briefing on Sunday, but we will see you right back here at 11 a.m. on Monday. Clay is going to tell us what that new turbidity level is. So we'll look forward to hearing that then.